Okay, so I should maybe start sweating about now because Finn said he had nothing and then had a lot and has oversold potentially what I do or don't have. So, I kind of went back to basics to a degree. There are a couple of things I changed to spend a lot of time now to hopefully spend less time later on. You may remember that last time I was asking about, it'd be great if there was a way to share animations, to bring in a sprite sheet and reuse animators, so I don't have to set an animator up for every character. It turns out you can do that using something called a sprite library and a sprite resolver. So this at the top here is sort of like a global king animator that everything uses. So every playable character, every enemy, everything uses this one animator. And then when I'm setting people up, like if I go to this enemy here, if I go back to scene view, as you can see, they've got a sprite library, which is just all of their sprites inserted on this panel. I don't know why sometimes they appear and sometimes they disappear. I prefer when I get my previews. So all I have to do is import the sprite sheet and then assign each pose to something from that sprite sheet, and then the animator will pick up the rest and do that for me. So that's going to be great as I iterate on different colored enemies, different weapon types, different whatever, because they're all sharing the same layout. That should speed things up. I also went back and completely redid the player input. So beforehand I was doing that in hard code. I am now using the Unity Input Manager, which has a few benefits. So one is that it automatically gives you different schemes and setups. You can see here, this is a gamepad scheme. That will be the mouse and keyboard scheme. And then I can actually filter up here all control schemes, gamepad, mouse and keyboard. So the other thing that then moving to that system allows me to do, you might notice Claire is not on her own. I'm just going to grab a controller here, and this is going to cause me other headaches. Also, you may now be hearing audio. So I can actually do co-op.
That's right. Wow.
Yeah, so it just sees a player and it goes, right, okay, well there's input manager, so we can do co-op. Nice. The HUD works, so if I start shooting some bullets,
cool.
Which means I made a reload animation, so I can reload guns. Oh, nice. That shouldn't happen.
Oh, it's tradition, man.
Oh, well.
Someone's got a break on stream. It's tradition.
I can shoot the enemies.
Those enemies are very, very lackluster. Oh, that was amazing. He just disappeared.
And they, so if I get close, they will run away. But if I run away from them, they will chase. Now you can see the graphics switching. That's because I haven't set the sprite library up properly yet.
Got you.
But they also change, because there's two players, they change their target based on the nearest player every 3 seconds. So he's like, oh, get back here! What I need to get them doing now is strafing and shooting back at me. The other thing, that music is doing my own head in now. I'm going to have to volume balance that. But,
that's amazing.
Damn, man. Yeah, that's looking different.
Yeah.
Wow. That's looking really different.
Yeah, this co-op is going to be a lot of consideration too, because like Anya, I had to add like a clamp script to her so that she can't be outside the camera bound. So if player one's moving around, she just gets dragged and pushed by the screen edge. But then if player one dies, then that clamp is ineffective and she becomes the target of the main camera so that it can follow her around. And then I'm going to have to think, okay, how do they revive each other? What can they do? How can they interact? So just an added layer of complexity. I also figured out auto tiles. So you can probably see here I'm trying to figure out like where the screen bounds are by counting how many of these tiles appear. But yeah, auto tiles are... and obviously the sound is in there now. So if I go to where have I put things? Tiles, and then auto tiles. So you can see it's sort of made an auto tile there. How can I get that to show properly? So that's just the sprite imported. This is the game object. So you sort of like grab each tile from your sprite sheet and you say, okay, this is how it interacts. So for this top corner, there would have to be a link here, here, and here.
Got ya.
And then what that allows you to do is instead of having to paint one tile at a time,
You can
just
draw.
grab the dirt. Yeah.
Awesome.
Just spread it around. And, yeah. That's a fantastic little system. I was so happy when I found it.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting to see like Unity sort of adopting as much of like the tile systems from other from other game engines like this, because
yeah, this used to be a paid add-on, and then I think they just bought them out because it was good.
They do that a lot. Like TextMesh Pro, they did the same thing with those guys as well, which is great. Like they're fantastic tools. So yeah, well played.
Absolutely. I'm also setting up these enemies to try and be as modular as possible. So on the enemy controller script, I've set things up like, okay, how long will it be before they make another decision? Actually, how far are they going to chase you for? How close do they want to get before they shoot? I need to add another one in. I want to call it Stormtrooper Aim, which will just throw off the angle. But yes, I'm trying to make it modular where I can.
Smart, man.
You can dial in the stormtrooper-ness. Have a stormtrooper number.
You ever seen that meme?
That's very
of,
cool,
like,
because then
the,
you can change the enemies on the...
You ever seen the stormtrooper meme of like the alarm clock? It's like got a target on it, and it's like you have to shoot it with a laser gun or something, like to turn it off. And it's like underneath it is a picture of a stormtrooper with his head in his hands, like I haven't slept in months. It's great.
Nice.
Good times. Sorry. Anyway, I digress.
No, that's cool. So I did all of that. I added, you probably saw the like CRT like filter. I've set that as a separate thing.
Where are
that
my
can be
scan
turned
lines?
Off.
I want my scan lines, yo.
The scan lines are there. You just can't see it because of compression on the video.
Okay.
Shit.
I'll let you off then.
If I open this up, literally scan lines,
All right.
and you've got options for horizontal and vertical. So
Good man.
the other thing that's kind of put a rocket up my arse, in September I said I'd asked the organisers of One Life Left if they were running a 2023 show, and if so, could I get a stall or exhibit? And they said, oh, the 2022 show, thank you for the kind words, but 2022 was like a one and done, we're not necessarily planning another one. In December I got another email from them. April 2023 we're going to do it, and there's free exhibiting space for indie games. Send us across this information for an application form, and they got back to me just a couple of days ago saying, you're in, we need a playable demo by the 1st of April.
Nice.
So I have a hard deadline for a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I got contacted by like a UK thing not too long ago. I can't remember the name of them. Like, it's one of the conventions as well. I think it's called Logic or something like that.
Yeah, I've had an email.
Format, sorry, that was it. Format convention in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
They offered me a spot at some point, and I was like, yeah, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time to make a demo. So I'm just
Yeah, this is the only thing.
Yeah.
I've got loose. I can't have any hard deadlines with what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which is a real shame.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's good to have that as a motivator, though, right, Sam? Because if you're sort of pushing through, because like the amount of stuff that I can see that's come along here, you're doing it in a really smart way, and I'm really glad to see that you haven't made any levels yet. For example, I think that is a really good way of going, because you're just focusing on like the core mechanics and stuff and figuring out the modularity, so you can expand upon that once you do start getting full levels in. But I know you probably need one now because of like the demo.
Oh
right?
yeah,
that's the only thing.
I need level 1.
Right, or A level.
I need level 1.
Yeah. A level, yeah, for a demo. But it looks really cool. What I'm thinking, is jumping into my mind, is like I've never seen like an open world type game, but this kind of mechanics that you've typed in and the way that you've done the enemies, is it kind of lends itself to more of an open world where you like stumble across, or almost like Pokemon-esque, where you stumble across enemies and then you've got to find your way around a map sort of thing, rather than mechanics you've added lends itself to an open world sort of format. Have you thought about that for level design?
So the thought crossed my mind, and then it was immediately followed by a 2-word sentence.
I
Scope creep.
Yeah. You're basically at that point, what you're doing is basically making Halo Infinite, which is a tough pill to swallow. Like as a solo dev, like making an open world game as a solo dev, like good luck with that one. But
tricky. Just tricky. Yeah. Or maybe
Like,
just have an open, like just like barrels here, some things here, find where the waypoint is, and then like have massive tiles, and then just go crazy with, dotting enemies around, and then you stumble across either items, enemies, and things.
So this is partly my own preferences coming into play as well,
Right.
but I rarely enjoy open world games as much as I enjoy handcrafted linear games. Like if you look at the Arkham series, people say that gets better as it goes on. For me, Arkham Asylum is the best one because they knew within reason, okay, you have to go here next, and there's maybe 2 routes you can take, and we can set up interesting encounters on the way. And that kept me much more engaged, whereas someone drops me in an open world and says, it's that choice paralysis. If someone asks you, what do you want for dinner tonight? You can have pizza or a cheeseburger. It's very easy to make that decision.
Yeah.
Someone says to you, oh yeah, kitchen's open, we can make anything. I don't know what I want.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say
so
anyway, like, because you're not only your preferences, but like the type of game that you're making, it is very much akin to Mega Drive games for the most part, right? Like, and they're usually level based. They're usually like they change style, like level to level. Well, not level to level, but zone to zone at least. So it's like 3 levels in a zone or whatever. I'm guessing that's the sort of thing that you're looking at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One, I'm using the Mega Drive color palette for all of the graphics.
There you go.
Just because. But also, 2, I do... Like, you look at, say, Tomb Raider 1 on Saturn, and you're like, okay, I'm going from, the Peru to Greece to Egypt to Atlantis. Spoilers. For a 30-year-old game. But then you get to, like, Tomb Raider, the reboot one, and it's like, you are on the island of Yamatai. Cool. Where else do I get to check out? The island of Yamatai.
Yeah.
So, oh, all right then. And yeah, just sort of not. Sorry to completely shoot down your suggestion, Chris. I feel
No. Your answer is well thought out, and so you've totally thought about that. That's kind of what I was trying to get to. Like, what were your thoughts on that? So yeah. No, it's good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's
Get some
great,
exploding barrels there. Did you figure out the issue where you're going behind barrels and like behind things?
Oh yes. So to the last build, I added the Y sorting layer global script. I just need to bring that into this build because when I started moving to the new player inputs, so much of the old was conflicting. I was like, nah, it's just clean slate. I'll re-import the assets. It was much easier than the animation system too. That was easier with a clean slate rather than untangling everything I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what's next for you?
A demo of a complete level before the 1st of April. It has to be.
Is there any more mechanics you need to get in first, or are you now at the stage where you're happy with everything and just building out a demo?
I want 2 things. I want enemies to... So I've got them that they run away if I'm too close. I've got them that they chase me if I'm too far. That middle spot, though, at the moment, they just stand still. So I've got it in, it's commented out at the moment, but a random dice roll of actions they could take. It's like shoot, strafe, for the first basic enemies, idle like an idiot. And then those functions will trigger. But, and this will come to something I was saying to Vinny before we were live, I made the mistake of asking in a Unity Discord, hey, how do I get movement that's like this circle strafing? So I've got my transform for my anchor point. I just want them to, walk around in a bit of a circle if the dice roll lands on that. And instead of answering the question I asked, they instead said, bro, why are you using so many if statements? You need to be using switches. Here's a video tutorial on how switches work. I was like, okay, thanks. So after I've converted it to switches, just sort of like neatly sidestep that for a moment, how do I get this sort of circular motion? And they replied saying, oh, well, with the code you've got, you already know that. I thought, if I knew that, I wouldn't be asking.
Forums.
No, I mean, it's like you gotta love programmers. God bless them. But Jesus, like whenever you ask them a question, they're always like, well,
they never answer the direct question.
They don't. They answer with a question. Else. Like normally, they say, well,
yeah.
What's the code that you've got? And then you show them the code, and like, well, I don't know why you did it that way. I would have done it this way. Like they answer things like that instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, I know what you've done. Like you need to like tackle X, Y, and Z to clean up your code a little better to make it a bit more efficient. Then you could try this, but for the most part, you're fine." Like that's the right answer.
Like guys. I appreciate switches will work better for what I'm doing, and it'll have less overhead and this, that, the other. Okay, great. Thanks for the heads up. Not what I asked.
Right, let's compartmentalize it. Yeah. It happens a lot, and it's that like I've had a good sort of laughing a joke with programmers because like I'm absolutely guilty of doing that. It's like you all do it. Like it's hilarious. Like don't. And like artists have the opposite problem as well because instead of like giving them actual tangible advice, like we'll say stuff like, "Oh, you just need to practice." Like I'll just do some master studies or something. It's the same thing. Like we have opposite problems, but yeah, they just.
Just think about where the light is coming from.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. Well, I know. Yeah, but how do I paint the light? Well, you just got to practice. All right, cool. Thanks for the advice.
Just think about where it comes from.
Yeah.
So look at the values. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Practice your values.
Have you tried looking at it in grayscale? Yeah, it still looks shit in grayscale, mate. Come on.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, no. Like other than that, though, Sam, like it looks great. Like you definitely come leaps and bounds ahead. I'm really excited to see like where the demo comes along, especially because. I guess the next step is making a level for it and sort of get... Well, I guess the next step is making the enemies sort of reacting properly and giving them good AI, right? And then you're going to start looking at making...
Yeah, I want to be happy with the enemies, and then once I'm happy with the enemies, I think I can easily make a couple of variants on those enemies, get that into a level, and like this convention... I'll be booking the time off work tomorrow to attend it. I've booked my travel... I've arranged where I'm staying, so the convention's happening. They've put me on the list.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I have to see if I can make that. When is it? April?
It is April 15th and 16th. It is OLL 23, and it is at the Norfolk Showground in Norwich.
Perfect. I'll see if I can swing by.
And embarrass me by breaking the game on the demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, like floating bullets, right? That's the best way forward.
Yeah, just bullets suspended in air and not going anywhere. It's beautiful.
So good.